began with bones on the wind. In the far reaches of the spine of the world, where the sun is but a pale rumour behind curtains of snow, there is a name spoken only when the fire is low and the wind is high. Rymir, the frozen moor, the white doom, winter's will, the glacier given wings, a breath of the ancient cold that predates memory and mocks the frailty of warmth. The oldest tribes of Icewind Dale tell of a time when the aurora shuddered and the stars dimmed, not from clouds, but from wings vast enough to darken constellations. Before the 10 towns had names, before the Regedmen carved totems from mammoth bone, Rymir had already carved the valleys with his claws. It is said he was born during the first great freeze, when the seas screamed and turned to glass. He did not hatch. He cracked free from a berg of blue ice older than the sun. He does not rule the north. He is the north. No diplomacy, no bargains, no hoarded knowledge or riddled lairs. Rymir seeks neither tribute nor alliance, only solitude, dominion, and the silence of a land too frozen to remember song. He is the apex and the crescendo of winter's bitter touch. It was in the year of Worm's reckoning that the icebound galleon Endurance attempted to cross the sea of moving ice. The ship bore a cargo of warmth, enchanted furs, sunstones, and hearthstones meant to revive the flagging hopes of Bryn Shander. Each crate marked for Rendaril's emporium. This vessel would bring hope and hearth to the frozen north, but hope is fleeting, all too easily snuffed out. The path of the Endurance drew too close to the edge of Rymir's dominion. They saw the storm first, unnatural, sudden, spiraling down in a fury of ice shards and screaming gales. But it was no blizzard. It was a shadow with wings. Rymir descended like a judgment. He struck not once, but thrice. The first came from above, his form breaking through the clouds, a spear of white death plummeting from the heavens. His breath tore across the deck like a tidal wave of permafrost. Rigging froze mid-sway, sailors encased mid-scream. Magnus, stalwart half-elf, and the sorcerer for the Endurance, tried to answer with flame. His fireball, though, shattered on contact, vanishing into the freezing wind like a candle in a hurricane. The second strike came from beneath. The crew scrambled to rally, but the ice betrayed them. With a sound like thunder cracking bone, the sheet beneath the Endurance split open, and from the dark water surged Rymir again, bursting forth with such force that the hull lifted and cracked. He dragged 2 of the lesser mages into the sea, their protective wards icing over in moments. Brinander, a Goliath of the spine of the world, answered. His shield raised, he leapt to strike, and brought his great axe down upon the beast. It was for naught. The scales of Rymir, hardened akin to frozen diamonds, were unyielding. The warrior, within a moment, flung skyward by a sweep of the dragon's tail and dashed across the deck like a doll of brittle glass. The third strike was silence. Rymir landed atop the stern, his claws splitting wood and ice alike. The crew's captain, Brenna Thorn, rallied the last defenders, paladins of Helm, and local warriors of Targus alike, forming a line of steel and resolve. They did not falter, but the cold embrace of winter cannot be ignored. One by one they fell, not to cunning, but to inevitability. The dragon's frost licked across shields and split them. His claws raked banners from the sky. A single roar shook the ship down to its buried keel. At last, only Thorn remained, blade drawn, breath short, face rimed with ice. Rymir regarded him for a long moment, not with hatred, not with satisfaction, but with hunger older than gods. The Endurance was claimed. When the Dale folk found the wreck days later, it was already half entombed in ice. Not a body stirred. Not a scrap of fire remained. Only the unmistakable gouge marks of claws along the hull and the frozen spire of ice where the ship's heart had once burned. Rymir had returned to the peaks, and the 10 towns shivered. The Regedman still offer seals and caribou at the edge of his hunting grounds. The wizards of Luskan dare not speak his name too loudly, lest it be heard on the wind. For to summon the storm is not to test it, it is to be claimed by it. And in the months that followed, the sea of moving ice grew still. Trade halted, tribes turned inward, and the North remembered what it means to survive. Rymir did not raise cities. He did not lay siege to towers. He reminded the world that the cold does not ask permission. It takes. For those who live in the Dale, survival is war, against hunger, against wind, against despair, and against the slow certainty that one day a shadow with wings will blot out the sky. Rymir is not a dragon to be slain. He is a lesson to be remembered. Keep the fires high, keep your blades sharp, and pray the wind does not change. For winter does not rage. It is not fury, but silence. Not vengeance, but inexorable. And in winter's cool embrace, the white doom waits. In the earliest winters of the mortal world, when the mountains were young and the seas still crusted with ice from creation's breath, I-O, the prime dragon, shaped the firstborn of his scale-bound children. Among these were the chromatic brood of Tiamat, queen of chaos, whose hatred was as boundless as her might. From her brood came dragons of flame, storm, shadow, and cold. White dragons were her simplest offspring, not simple in spirit, but singular in purpose. Tiamat did not bless them with political cunning or sorcerous ambition. She forged them from hunger, from isolation, from winter's refusal to compromise. Some say the Queen of Dragons birthed them from her final exhale after a failed siege on the heavens, a breath so bitter with spite and frost that it solidified into eggs of rime-bound ivory. Others claim she carved them from the heart of the first glacier that fell upon a mortal city, laughing as the survivors froze, clutching their temples in prayer. Still others whisper she molded them from the silence that follows death, the eternal stillness where warmth never returns. Whatever the truth, white dragons are the purest expression of chromatic purpose, survival at any cost. They do not deceive, they do not dominate, they endure. Their legends say they were among the first to fly when the world was still cooling from creation. Their bones remember the crunch of ancient glaciers. Their hearts beat with the rhythm of falling snow. Even their rage is elemental, not personal, but inevitable. Where they dwell, the frost deepens. Where they rule, life withers. But never do they conquer out of spite. To a white dragon, survival is the only law. Anything that threatens that, be it a rival, a town, or time itself, must be devoured. Among the chromatic kin, white dragons are the smallest in size, the lowest in intellect, and the most primal in instinct, yet they are no less deadly. Where others plot, the white dragon stalks. Where others speak, it hunts. It is not a creature of strategy, but of certainty, a beast sculpted by winter, perfected by hunger. Its body is sleek, streamlined like a glacier's edge. The head narrows to a predatory point, beak-like snout, serrated teeth that jut even when the maw is closed, and a crest curved back like wind-blown stone. From below, it seems featureless and smooth, a blade of cold thought, its short neck tucked in, wings wide but blunted, trailing edges tinged with the ghost-light hues of polar dawn, faint turquoise, washed blue. As a wormling, its scales shimmer with purest white, a mirror to the frost, but age scours that sheen away. In ancient specimens, the hide is mottled, pale blue, dusted grey, and marbled with stormlight scars. This camouflage makes them phantoms in their realm. The air, the snow, the ice, all conspire to hide them. Unlike the cunning schemers of their kin, white dragons rely not on intellect, but on bestial instinct. They are apex predators, perfected by a singular drive, to kill and to survive. Their focus is unwavering, their hunger insatiable. They devour only that which has been frozen, creatures slain by their breath, their death shrouded in hoarfrost. Corpses are stored like trophies, entombed in snowdrifts or ice banks near the lair, their presence a silent herald of the dragon's claim. But some kills are more than food. They are victories immortalized. Within the lairs of ancient wights, one may find the shattered remains of Remor hazes, giants, and other dragons, frozen in poses of agony, arranged like grim statuary, a warning, a monument. Though often underestimated for their middling intellect, white dragons possess memories of unnatural depth. Every trespass, every insult, every wound remembered. Their vendettas span centuries, and they have been known to pursue slights with a vicious pettiness that borders on the obsessive. They do not forget, they do not forgive, and they rarely speak. Though they possess the speech of dragons, white worms choose silence. Their voices are reserved for commands, for wrath, or for mockery. Words to them are luxuries of warmth. They avoid others of their kind. Solitude is their sanctuary. The only exception is mating, not born of affection, but of impulse. Their courtship is brief, fierce, and often violent. They may linger near each other for a time, tolerating the presence of offspring, only so long as those young remain strong. Weaklings are abandoned. Only the fiercest endure. In rare cases, white dragons may serve another, but only when forced. Humanoids that can withstand their fury, or giants who defeat them in trial by strength, may earn a tenuous allegiance. Frost giants, especially, seek to prove their might by slaying or subduing these draconic titans. In victory, a giant may gain a servant. In failure, they become bone and warning. More often, the only followers a white dragon allows are kobolds, groveling worshippers whose constant attrition is a price the dragon barely notices. White dragons do not build empires. They do not scheme. They do not aspire. They hunger. They hunt. They endure. White dragons do not shape their lairs from ambition, but from necessity and the unspoken language of ice. They do not build. They burrow. They carve. They claim. Their lairs lie hidden in the cruelest landscapes the world can offer. The hollows of ancient glaciers, the silent vaults of subglacial lakes, or wind-blasted cliffs veiled in blizzards eternal. They prefer places unreachable by foot, high vales cloaked in cloud, ice caverns threaded like veins through mountains, or glacial cathedrals with ceilings so vast they echo like god temples. A white dragon's lair is never just a home. It is a weapon. They wind through narrow corridors that choke warmth from the air. The walls shimmer with frost-rimed reflections, misleading the eye and confusing the ear. Some passages echo every footstep into thunder. Others absorb sound entirely, making the silence oppressive, disorienting. Their elemental bond with cold is absolute. The very act of their presence deepens the frost, ice thickens, snow becomes heavy with spite, and the wind howls in unnatural tones. It is said, a white dragon can feel the timbre of the wind shift when an intruder enters their domain, as if the cave itself warns with breathless whispers. Their chosen perches are high ledges and icy overhangs, unreachable by foot. While intruders slip and stumble on treacherous ice fields, the dragon moves above them, leaping from perch to perch, striking with breath and claw like the blizzard-made flesh. Freezing fog clings to their sanctuaries like a second skin, obscuring vision, chilling bone. Icicles hang like the swords of giants, ready to fall at the faintest tremor. And with but a thought, the dragon can summon walls of opaque ice, sealing off prey or funneling it into ambush. The terrain becomes their trap, every ridge, every chasm, a piece of their silent warfare. Beyond the lair, the very land rebels. Blizzards rise from clear skies. Snow clots the air into blindness. The cold intensifies, not just weather but will. Their hordes, contrary to expectation, are not grand piles but scattered constellations. Coins and gems litter the lair like stars strewn across a frozen sky, catching the faint light in 100 shimmering hues. Larger treasures, chests, weapons, enchanted artifacts are frozen in blocks of rime, sealed beneath thick walls of translucent ice. What others must chip at for hours, the dragon shatters with a single blow. Their tastes reflect their realm, not just gold, but beauty shaped by the cold. Walrus ivory, carved whalebone, ship figureheads dragged from crushed galleons, and the furs of slain heroes. They favor diamonds most, each one a mirror of ice's eternal gleam. And they remember. Oh, how they remember. Each trinket, each relic is tied to a kill, a conquest, a lesson in survival. Their minds, sharpened by silence and solitude, do not forget a single coin story. Attempting to bribe a white dragon is folly. It already imagines how your bones will glint among the others. For in these lairs, there is no peace, no warmth, no parley. Only the breath of cold and the certainty that you are trespassing. White dragons do not begin life in comfort. They emerge from eggs as hard as forged steel, cold to the touch and slick with frost. Their first breath is not air, but rime. Their first lesson, endure. Wormlings are cast into a world that offers no quarter. The chill does not harm them. It defines them. They do not linger in the nest. Hunger drives them forward, and the cruelty of the north rewards only those who hunt, burrow, and kill. They stalk frostbitten hares, scavenge from carcasses, and flee anything larger, even their own kin. Sibling kills sibling. Mercy is unknown. Even as hatchlings, they glide across ice with effortless grace, claws gripping frozen stone, eyes scanning for movement beneath snow. Their breath, though juvenile, freezes small prey in place. Each successful hunt deepens their instincts. Each scar, a lesson carved in flesh. Those that survive grow lean and lethal. Young adulthood is exile. They are driven from natal caves, forced to claim hunting grounds or perish in the attempt. They test the edges of dominions, stealing kills, watching the skies, learning to vanish into storm and drift. They learn not from scrolls, but from scars. Every glacier edge, every soundless gorge, every wind-blasted rise becomes a part of them. They do not map their territory, they become it. At this stage, they refine their use of frost breath, their physical power ripening into true predatory might. They strike with an apex hunter's precision, tooth, claw, and breath, working in ruthless harmony. Flight becomes second nature. So too does ambush, as they rise and fall through ice and air with silent elegance. Adulthood brings dominion. A mature white dragon claims the north and wintry terrain. Its territory stretches for leagues. From the highest peaks to the frozen seas, it patrols, soars, waits. Some slumber for seasons, dreaming in ice. Others revel in the hunt, descending without warning to shatter caravans, or extract tribute from trembling tribes. They care not for titles, only stillness, solitude, sovereignty. These are their instincts, not their aspirations. By now their breath can freeze legions. Their wings stir avalanches. Their presence warps the weather. They begin to brush against frost magic, not in incantation, but in instinct. Their roars command fear. Their gaze stills thought. Their hunger bends weaker wills. An ancient white dragon is a blizzard with inevitability. Its roar triggers avalanches. Its wings usher blizzards. Its breath stills the very pulse of the land. It freezes foes solid, not by accident, but by artistry. Its might is immense, its resilience uncanny. And though it wields magic only in primal, elemental forms, the very world shapes itself around its fury. It hunts not from need, but from the memory of survival. It flies not for distance, but to remind the sky who owns it. It fights not for territory, but because everything is its territory. And when it dies, if it ever dies, its bones will remain, frozen in the shape of its wrath, for 1,000 winters. A white dragon does not roar into battle. It does not challenge. It does not warn. It strikes in a cold but delicate frozen rage. Forged by famine and shaped by silence, white dragons are the final evolution of necessity. Their bodies are honed, lean, sinewed, precise. No wasted breath, no flourish of fang. Only what kills. To fight a white dragon is not to enter a duel. It is to be named prey by something the land itself obeys. They do not charge across open ground. They wait, watch, lurk within storm clouds or the ink-black stillness beneath a frozen lake. They know every overhang, every crevasse, every place where snow disguises death. They observe for hours, sometimes days, not from cowardice, from certainty. Their attacks are not tests. They are conclusions. Combat begins long before claws draw blood. The land weakens prey. Hunger saps strength. Cold numbs will. And only when the struggle is meaningless does the dragon descend. The battlefield bends to them. And should the battle turn, they vanish into mist, into wind, into the crackling silence between snowflakes. But they are not defeated. They are simply elsewhere, waiting, learning, remembering. Even their retreats are traps. Their primary rivals, red dragons, often share mountainous domains. But where the red seeks conquest, the white seeks dominion of survival. The red breathes fire to rule. The white breathes cold to endure. In this, the white is patient. When the red burns hot and careless, the white slips away into frost-thick shadows. Lesser in strength, perhaps, but never in cunning. And so, they survive. They do not fight for glory. They do not fight to rule. They fight to remain, to prove that no matter the fire, the flood, the foe, the cold always comes. Above the spine of the world, in peaks too perilous to chart, and valleys where even memory freezes, the white doom stirs beneath the frost. No shrine is raised in his name, yet the regheadmen still whisper it when the winds die too suddenly. The children of the 10 towns are taught not how to fight him, but how to listen. For the silence before his coming is not absence, it is promise. Ships no longer brave the sea of moving ice without double prayers, one for the voyage, and one for the shadows beneath the bergs. The tundra does not mourn the fallen, it preserves them, whole, cold, witnesses forever to a lesson the Dalefolk now hold sacred. The North does not hate, it endures, and so must they. Beneath every snow-laden roof and every frost-rimed blade, the people of 10 towns live not in defiance of Rymir, but in acknowledgement of him, as they would the mountain, the blizzard, the hunger of wolves. For to know the white dragon is not to know a mind. It is to know the will of winter. And when next the aurora falters and the snow falls sideways on a clear day, some will wonder if it is merely weather, or if the glacier has grown wings once more. And if so, if he comes again, let the fire be stoked, the steel drawn, and the song sung low, not as challenge, not as warning, but as memory. For Rymir does not bring death, he brings reminder that the cold forgets no trespass, that silence always returns, and that in the farthest reaches of the world, winter watches.